This video is brought to you by CuriosityStream. Go to curiositystream.com/polyphonic to get 30 days of membership for free. If there's one thing the Beatles did well, it was write love songs. In their early days, they topped the charts with simple pop tunes about love, and that was a message they carried throughout their entire career. And over that time, the Beatles evolved and changed the way they wrote love songs. They experimented with lyrical conceits and pushed their musical boundaries, all in the name of singing great love songs. So how did a group of teens from Liverpool go from writing songs about holding hands to writing love songs that would be covered by Frank Sinatra and Ray Charles? Let's take a closer look. Love dominated the Beatles' early work. In fact, every original song on their first 3 UK albums was about love or heartbreak. And these songs took on love in a very particular way. The Beatles were writing for a teen audience, and this was reflected in their lyrics. They were innocent songs, often with a simple conceit. Look at something like Love Me Do, the group's debut single.
Love, love me do. You know I love you.
That song talks about love in the most basic sense, loving a partner and staying true to them. It also sets the stage for a trend the Beatles carried throughout their early career, writing to a lover in the first person. The Fab Four wanted to create a connection to their audience, and so they didn't write love songs about loving a particular woman, they wrote songs about loving you, their female listeners. This is evident in the song titles, P.S. I Love You, All My Loving, I Want to Be Your Man. And it wasn't just the albums, the Beatles' singles followed the same pattern. Look at I Wanna Hold Your Hand. It's a song written in the first person, and it presents an innocent, PG version of love, holding hands.
I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold.
By their third album, A Hard Day's Night, you could see this trend changing though. That album has a song that seems to be a response to I Wanna Hold Your Hand, If I Fell.
'Cause I've been in love before, and I found that love was more than just holding hands.
Musically, If I Fell is a big step forward too. It was one of the Beatles' first true ballads, something that they would go on to perfect later in their career. Instead of a fast rock and roll song, it's more mellow, playing up the emotional vulnerability of the lyrics. A Hard Day's Night also featured Can't Buy Me Love, a song that retains some of the Beatles' earlier trends, but also starts musing on the value of love in a materialistic sense.
Need no diamond rings, and I'll be satisfied. Tell me
This too would set the stage for some of the Beatles' great love songs down the road. By the time the Beatles released their next album, Beatles for Sale, they were drawing from folk and country, which contributed to the album's sadness. Out of the 8 originals on Beatles for Sale, 5 are about heartbreak, including I'm a Loser.
I have won or have lost. There is one love.
This song is indicative of John Lennon's growing angst and depression. The innocence of early love is disappearing as the Beatles discover the complex web that is romance. While Lennon is the dark Beatle, he's not the only one whose love songs grew somber. On 1965's Help, Paul McCartney penned one of the greatest heartbreaking love ballads of his career, Yesterday.
All my troubles seem so far away.
One thing that makes Yesterday stand out is how it uses simplicity to hint at complexity. Like with their earlier love songs, Yesterday's lyrics don't go into detail about the romance, they just describe vague happenings.
Long for yesterday.
This allows the listener to project their own sorrow and their own past onto the song. In doing so, it creates a song that's far more complex than a detailed love story could ever be. The complexity of love brought on one of the great transformations in how the Beatles wrote about love. As they entered the middle of their career, they started to write about love as a broader concept. Love was no longer just romance, it was a more powerful force. On Rubber Soul's The Word, they sing that love At the same time, the Beatles were more willing to write sex into their love songs as well. Drive My Car is much less sterile than their earlier love songs, the titular phrase being an old euphemism for sex.
Baby, you can drive my car.
The sexuality and spirituality of love collided on the Beatles' next album, Revolver. By the time Revolver came out, the psychedelic movement had exploded, and the Beatles were in the midst of a transformation. No longer a simple pop group, they had been experimenting for the last few albums, and now were knee-deep in psychedelia. Lyrically, they had also branched away from love, singing songs about everything from sleep to drugs to taxes. But still, Revolver had its fair share of love and breakup songs. The love songs in particular were influenced by Eastern music and philosophy. In George Harrison's Love to You, he sings about the spirituality of making love. This is a sentiment echoed by John Lennon in Tomorrow Never Knows. Lennon's belief in the power of love has grown to the point that love is not just important, love is everything. When love grows past just two people, it becomes an incredible force for change. And the Beatles truly believed in the power that love had to change the world. George Harrison picks up this thread on the next album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Though that album only has a few songs that could be classified as love songs, one of them is Within You Without You. Influenced by Hindu philosophy, George Harrison posits in this song that love could save the world. And this idea carried on into the Beatles' next great love song, All You Need Is Love. For many, this is the pinnacle of the Beatles' love songs. It's a beautiful utopian image that encapsulates the feelings of 1967's Summer of Love. Alongside triumphant horns, the Beatles sing a simple message, evolved from their repetitive love songs years earlier. All you need is love. All you need is love. There's a clear path from Love Me Do to All You Need Is Love. Love carried the Beatles to these heights. Love was the great driving force behind their career. But of course, All You Need Is Love wasn't the end of the Beatles' career. And while it may have been the height of their faith in love, it was far from the last love song they ever wrote. A year and a half after All You Need Is Love, the Beatles released the White Album, another drastic shift in their career. Despite being a double album, the longest of their career, the White Album is lacking in notable love songs. Perhaps the most powerful is Julia, a simple love ballad which works as a romantic song, but was actually written by Lennon about his mother.
So I sing the song of love, Julia.
The Beatles have stepped away musically and lyrically from the grandiose statements about the power of love. They're returning to their roots with ballads about love between two people, but this love is informed by the power of love as a concept. In the late stages of their career, the Beatles put together a diverse set of love songs, including some career highlights on Abbey Road. One such track is I Want You, She's So Heavy, which breaks love down into its most raw form, desire. It takes a simple thought and repeats it ad infinitum, creating an endless, desperate love that climbs to an unresolved climax. The B section of the song talks about how love can make someone weigh heavy on your thoughts. Like their earliest songs, I Want You is a distillation of love down to a single, pure thought. Another love song on Abbey Road takes the same premise, attraction, but goes in a different direction. In doing so, Something becomes one of the most romantic songs of the Beatles' career.
Something in the way she moves.
In these lyrics, Harrison channels McCartney's Yesterday. He paints a universal picture by staying vague. It's something in a smile, something in a moment that builds this love. Everyone can relate to that because, of course, there's something about everyone's love that made them fall in the first place. Musically, Harrison pulls from the great love songs of the past. In fact, he wrote this song with Ray Charles in mind. And then, of course, there's the end. While most of this song is instrumental, it finishes topics Love was the thread that carried them to the end. By looking at the Beatles' career like this, we can get a peek inside their creative process. The concept of creativity is a really fascinating topic that's been explored in a lot of ways over the years. If you want to understand creativity a bit better, why not check out Unraveling the Creative Mind on CuriosityStream? That mini-doc looks at some of the science behind creativity, and if that piques your interest, check out the series Curious Minds, Creativity, which looks at the topic from a number of angles. And that's just a start. CuriosityStream is the first subscription streaming service dedicated to helping us on our lifelong quest to learn, explore, and understand. They offer 2,000 documentary titles on everything from physics to philosophy, from art to engineering, from the past to the future. You can try it out for yourself if you go to curiositystream.com/polyphonic and enter the coupon code Polyphonic. By using that code, you'll get 30 days of membership free, and you'll show them that I sent you. After that first month, CuriosityStream is just $2.99 a month. There's so much out there to be learned, so please go give it a shot, and remember to use the link in the description and the offer code Polyphonic to show your support for my channel.